Barberton is fairly typical of small towns in rural South Africa. Money is scarce, unemployment is high, ill health is commonplace. And that's particularly true for the black residents of this once thriving gold mining town. The lack of resources means people survive as best they can. And Sophie Jardim is a survivor. Not only that, by sheer determination and strength of character, she has helped abandoned children survive too. Whether black or white makes no difference to her, especially in a country where that difference has caused so much suffering. Sophie Jardim has opened her home to abused children or those with HIV or AIDS, and in South Africa, there's no shortage of either. She helps fund the home by selling her craft work. It all started when a nurse introduced her to an abandoned child called Pile.
At that stage, I didn't think that our town could have abandoned children, and not really being involved with the whole HIV/AIDS situation. I didn't really think that there was children in our village. So she took me to the ward, and she also didn't tell me he was a black little child. And I must say, I didn't know if I was able to really care for him and look after him like I did with my own children. So I came home and I discussed it with my kids, and the next day my youngest son, John Louis, went with me to the hospital because he can speak the local language. And we visited Pile for 2 months. And the day he cried, when we left, I knew it was time for me to take him, that he accepted me for who I am.
Pile's parents had died with AIDS, and he was HIV positive. When Sophie took him home, she was told that he would probably only live for another 6 months. But Pile fought on for almost 3 years. The problem of HIV/AIDS in South Africa is huge. Only India is believed to have more sufferers, and that's in a far larger population. Statistics indicate that within 4 years, there will be almost 1 million AIDS orphans in South Africa. And that number will double within the next 4 years. As they die, more take their place. The experience with Pile taught Sophie a lot.
That first child showed me that it was within me to look after these children and care for them, even if I didn't have any medical background. I mean, I worked in a bank, so I mean, the best thing I knew was dispirins and little plasters. So even these children didn't know what they came into because I didn't know medicine and all.
Sophie is the driving force, but she's not alone. Some people, like Molly, immediately came to help, in spite of opposition. Once in a supermarket, a woman spat at Sophie and the child she was carrying. A man said her Kaffirs would murder her. The numbers cared for vary, but the railway house, as it's called, only has 4 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. Molly is permanently amazed at how Sophie copes with it all.
It's always the first of anything that makes the biggest impact. We were sitting around the kitchen table, and literally there was nothing in the house. This was, I mean, it was a few years ago. And Sophia is such a positive person. She really believes. I don't know how she does it. Really, I don't. Because there was nothing, literally. What are we going to feed these children this afternoon? You know, because they have the main meal sort of mid-afternoon. And as true as I'm sitting here, and I mean, people find it so hard to believe, and I'm a cynic, so I didn't believe it. And we were discussing the fact of, you know, if we had some eggs, you know, like let's scratch and find if we can find some money. Eggs are great, you know, because you can make French toast and scrambled eggs. You can do a lot with eggs. And a van pulled up outside the backyard with 5 dozen eggs. I will never forget it as long. And I mean it. I mean, I go goosey now thinking of it. It made such an impact on me.
The help given extends beyond the house fence. A doctor often gives free treatment and medicines. A family grocer offers a 50% discount, while this supermarket gives Sophie unsold food on a weekly basis. The railway house gets some money from the authorities, but it's only intended for children deemed to be fostered, as opposed to simply cared for by Sophie. And the money certainly doesn't cover her costs.
Ag, Bobby, kan jy nie net inklim in daardie kraan? Baie, baie.
Because of the sporadic funds and supplies available, meals vary. The type of helper also varies. Age and colour are irrelevant. If the date of a birthday is known, it's celebrated. If not, the home celebrates the anniversary of the day on which the child arrived. It's a small effort that makes a big impression on young children at the railway house, most of whom have no idea where they came from, nowhere to go, and no one to go with. The children that Sophie cares for often have more than one health problem. Some have suffered the effects of their parents' alcoholism.
The water, man.
With limited space and facilities, bath time is planned with military precision. Almost.
Don't drink the water, eh? You okay?
Although she receives money for fostering, this is not a job for Sophie. It's her life.
Every child that comes into my house becomes my own child. I treat them like my own children. I sometimes feel that my children was my learning experience in my life. And this is my choice, doing what I'm doing today. So I try my best not to make the same mistakes that I made with my own children, because this children is really here. It's my choice. It's not their choice, it's my choice that they're here. So I always try my best. So I'm their caregiver, I'm their mother. I'm not a foster mother.
Physical contact with the children is important to let them know that most adults are actually caring and unlikely to beat or molest them. Sophie learned the importance of contact from the first child she took in, Pile.
I didn't realize this till Pile one morning. I wanted to comb his hair, and he gave me a pair of gloves and a brush to comb his hair. And then I realized there's something, I'm doing something wrong. This child is telling me something. And I realized it was because I didn't touch him with my bare hands.
The railway house caters for teenagers as well as babies. One of them was sold by her parents to a man who raped her before she escaped. In another case, a father who raped his daughter has demanded her return. Sophie is fighting the case. There are many South African projects designed for youngsters such as these, and other people have opened their homes to help. But many involved in tackling the problem agreed that far greater coordination is needed. They also say that the current policy is simply one of coping with the crisis, dealing with the effect more than the cause. Given the lack of funds, perhaps that's not surprising. But greater integration of the projects and a more collective approach could boost the fight against one of the biggest problems in South Africa today. That would probably involve leadership by the highest authorities, but also more involvement from everyone in the country. Although the incidence of HIV/AIDS is higher amongst the black population, the issue in one way or another affects everyone. Barberton is predominantly white and conservative, so Sophie's railway house struggled to cope from the start. Even some of her own friends and acquaintances either did not or could not understand why she had taken upon herself the role of carer. But her persistence paid off, in some cases at least.
I had a friend, and she's still my friend. I nearly lost her because of this decision, looking after the children. She came visiting me every day before she used to go to work, and that was quarter past 6 in the morning. And she just stopped coming here. And it really hurted me a lot, but I felt I'm not going to confront her and find out what the problem is. And 9 months went past, she didn't come here. And one morning she came here and she said, you know, Sophie, I missed you so much. But I had to go home and educate myself to understand what you're busy doing.
No amount of time will convince some people that Sophie is doing the right thing, but at least she is doing something. And a coordinated, well-funded, nationwide campaign would be even better.